Hi everyone! Today we're going to talk about poison ivy and some misconceptions about this plant, and also how the oil inside it affects our immune system. First of all, this plant is commonly found in the US, Canada, and northern Mexico. Rhus radicans, Toxicodendron radicans, and Rhus toxicodendron are some different names of plants in the poison ivy family. Poison ivy is recognized by 3 leaflets that are darkly colored in older plants and light green in a young plant. Clusters of green berry-like fruit grow between the stem and leaves. Moreover, this plant has urushiol, which is an oil that causes itching, irritation, and a painful rash on the skin of humans and other primates. This colorless or slightly yellow oil can be found in the stems, roots, leaves, and skin of the fruit, and is used to retain oil in the plant. Physical damage to the plant releases the oil. It can linger on clothing and other surfaces for long periods of time, but it can be washed off easily with cold water.
Many people seem to think that the poison ivy plant itself is poisonous or toxic. In fact, the plant is not toxic, but the oil that it releases can cause a reaction. This reaction occurs when a sensitive person comes into direct contact with the oil. You can come in contact with the oil by brushing up to a broken plant or touching a surface that is contaminated with poison ivy oil. When this contact occurs, the reaction may cause a red, itchy, blistering rash. Unlike what some people may believe, the blisters and rash caused by poison ivy are not contagious, because the oil toxin is not found in our own body fluids. Poison ivy oil is not normally found in the air. You can't get the rash from just standing near the plant.
When you touch poison ivy oil for the first time, this is what happens. The oil comes into contact with the skin and gets absorbed. Once inside, it undergoes a reaction to become a quinone, which is something foreign that our immune system can't recognize or respond to yet. A quinone only activates the immune system when it binds to proteins on the surface of white blood cells, called antigen-presenting cells, found in the skin. These cells will eat up foreign substances, the protein-quinone complex in this case, and cuts them into pieces. The antigen-presenting cell then leaves the skin and travels to specific training centers of our immune system. It shows a piece of the complex to helper T cells, which are a type of white blood cell. The helper T cells are then activated and go back to the skin where they become 2 different types of white blood cells. One type of cell produced is known as memory cells, which will be able to fight the oil during a second exposure. The other type of cell produced are called effector cells, which will combat the quinone. Upon second exposure, these memory cells are turned on, and the helper T cells produce chemicals to activate other blood cells. Then both the infected cells of the skin, including the antigen-presenting cells, and the chemicals produced by helper T cells activate a third type of cell called the cytotoxic T cells. These activated cytotoxic T cells kill infected cells by releasing chemicals. The cell death causes damage to the skin layers that leads to blistering, formation of new blood vessels, redness, and inflammation at the site of oil exposure.
Now that we have seen how the oil causes the allergic reaction, it is important to understand that not all people are allergic to the oil. The T helper cells of these tolerant people are not turned on when exposed to the oil because many activating factors other than APC are not there. The sensitivity to poison ivy varies between people, age, and even season. Even a tolerant person can become sensitive to poison ivy over time.
Now that we know all about the icky, itchy poison ivy reaction, hopefully we can learn to avoid it too. The best way to avoid getting this horrible rash is to prevent the plant oil from touching your skin in the first place. This means shielding your skin with long pants and socks when you hike in the woods or work in the garden. Keep your eyes peeled for poison ivy by remembering this little rhyme. Leaves of 3, let them be. Remember, once you develop an allergy to poison ivy, poison oak and poison sumac will also make you itch because they're from the same family of plants. If you happen to come in contact with the poison ivy oil, don't despair. Instead, wash the affected area with cold water and mild soap for 15 minutes. The quicker, the better. This is the time it takes for the oil to sink into your skin. Wash your dirty clothes as soon as you get inside so you don't track poison ivy oil around the house. You don't want to accidentally touch it later. Best of luck with your outdoor adventures. We're sure you're itching to tell everyone these fun facts about poison ivy.